want me to start talking into your microphone now?
Yeah.
What I've got here is a sheet of Teflon, and what it does, it protects the iron and any other surface that comes between the iron and the fusible web that you use. This is an iron, this happens to be a small portable iron, but any iron will do. This, which looks like tissue paper, is a piece of fusible web. You just want to keep it away from your iron. This stuff comes in contact with the iron, it sticks. Now I'll take a little piece of example fabric here, and I'll iron it just to smooth it out. What I'm going to do here is put the fabric on the Teflon. I'm going to put the fusible web over the fabric and another piece of Teflon over that. So here I'm going to apply heat to the piece of fabric that's got the fusible web next to it. And wait just a few seconds for it to cool off. And then I very carefully remove the surface Teflon from the piece of fabric and whatever fusible web has now stuck to it. So now what you have is a piece of fabric with the fusible web underneath. The backside is shiny, and that's where the fusible web has actually fused and become part of the fabric itself. I'm going to cut away all of the peripheral excess around the piece of fabric. Normally, I use a cutting board with a cutting wheel, and I can do it in a matter of a few seconds. The same piece of fabric, but with all the extra stuff. You can see that it's more shiny. Okay, now what I do is I take another piece of fabric, and I'll flatten that out. I will now attach this piece of fabric with the fusible web. The shiny fusible web side goes in contact with the new piece of fabric. Again, just to be on the safe side, use your Teflon, lay it over the top, and iron. And now what we have is effectively a single piece of fabric with another piece of fabric fused to it in such a way so they pretty much cannot be separated without damaging them. Now this is the whole process that I've just now shown you. The possibilities of using this process are infinite, because I could cut this and put it together again in some different orientation. And I have, in fact, made pieces where I've cut them so many times that the pieces were infinitely small, but they all stayed in place because they had been fused to a piece larger than themselves initially. Now this is a finished piece, which originally were pieces of plaid. And if you look closely, you'll see the little wedge-shaped pieces that each individual one represents, part of the pattern from the original. And what I've done is I've cut them and then applied them back again in reverse order, and so it created a pattern.
Now, did you kind of invent this process?
Yes. Originally, I used to work with quilted textiles, and then eventually I developed this process of working with textiles. I've never seen it done by anybody else. It's something I ultimately developed on my own. Yeah, and you've got a lot of examples of it here.